Okay, looks like I'm live. Just type in some messages. I just hope someone turns up. Must have a drop of tea. Hey, Dipsy, how you doing? Can you hear me all right, mate? Just to make sure we're all good. Four people now. Loud and clear, Dipsy. Cheers, mate. Wow, people are piling in like we're giving away something here. Hi, Stefan. Hi, Daryl. Willie Nilly. Hi, Bud. How you doing? I'm just going to let everyone, or a few of you, get in before we go into any Dirty K. Jason, I believe. How you doing, mate? Nick Williams. Finally not working and able to join you, Steve. Yeah, I'm glad you are, Nick. I ain't heard from you for a while. How you doing? Willie Nilly, Tim. I'll try and remember that. I'll do my best, mate. Dojo from DC. Welcome, Dojo. I had all sorts of plans for today. I thought we were going to talk about this or talk about that. But each time I get a plan, it don't pan out because someone will ask a question and, you know. So if Eddie's mum, hi. Wind in Cornwall has been awful. It has. We've had some high winds here. Anyone had any antenna damage this week? Dipsy says he's got himself an FT897D. I've had one of them, had it for a long time. Nice bit of kit. Colin from Wiltshire says, hi, Steve. Hi, Colin. Willy Nilly says, give a thumbs up, lads. Dojo's talking about the hot and cold air causing chaos with the wind. Johnny Mac says higher. Well, as you can see, I put a picture of the 6900. Anyone got a 6900 in here? I presume some of you must have because they're a popular rig. What's your thoughts on it? What drove you nutty when you first got it? Because I've got a few things that drove me nutty when I first got mine. Paul, Charlie Tango 2198. Good evening, all. Hi, Paul. Welcome, fella. Colin Guntrip. All right, Steve. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks, mate. Absolutely fine. Nick Williams says he's only got a 7900. He said, no bugger's got a 7900 and I love it. Darren says he's got a 6900, but nothing driven me mad yet. Oh, I had a few, not issues, but like I had a bit of a learning curve when I first got mine. Either way, the channel was Paul the Pipe TV. Okay, Paul. David M. Hiya, mate. Yeah, something that drove me a little bit nutty with the 6900 was the clarifier come KC shift. I just wish they would have done a fine on a course so you can, add a smooth clarifier without that click. I don't like that, never have liked it, but yeah, they're okay. Dojo says, what's the furthest you've ever reached with 11 meters in your life? Probably multiples into America, I should think. Colin Guntrick says, bought a 6900 and melts load before I key up. I don't understand that. Yeah, apart from that, the 6900's all right. I've got two here, I've heard America, no, not America, Australia and New Zealand on 11 meters. Never managed to make the trip, but I've tried a couple of times. So how about you, Dojo? What's your furthest contact? Oh, I've reread Collins. It says it melts the lead even before get up. DC to Texas. Okay, mate. Ian R says, hi, Steve. Hiya. Willy Nilly, is that on single sideband? I've done it on definitely on FM and definitely multiple times on sideband. I have mentioned this in a previous stream. Years ago, back in the 80s, I was on the 19 of the Muppets, 27781.25 FM to be precise. And there was a lot of skip about this particular day. And I keyed up and I said, can anyone hear me over the top of all this skip? And a guy came back. His handle was Red Rooster and he was in New York. I took him up a couple of channels. We made the contact, exchanged names, equipment, etc., etc. And within minutes, I mean, half of the UK was calling this guy, but we did. Dojo says in the US we are limited to 12 watts SSB on CB, 5 watts AM FM. Likewise over here, this is to Dojo. We're limited to 12 watts sideband and 4 watts AM FM. Now you saying, Dojo, saying about your limitations on your power in America. I went to America some years ago. Right? While I was over there, I thought I want to have a look in a CB shop. I weren't driving because I'm not used to left-hand drive cars. I tried it in this person's driveway and not driving, you drive. I got taken to a truck stop in Virginia and it was not far away from a place called Roanoke. Went in there and I was like a kid in a sweet shop. They had these glass cases of all these CBs. Now, bearing in mind, in the UK, sideband wasn't legal yet, nor was AM. So I went to the antenna section and there was a K40. And I was trying to work out what it worked out in pound notes compared with the dollars. And I was saying to the person I'm with, I might have one of them. That's an absolute bargain. And this big, deep voice from behind me says, no, you don't want to get one of them, buddy. He says, you want to get the Wilson 1000. So I looked around, there's this truck driver. He's up here, about this wide, massive, wild man beard. He said them K40s, he said the coils melt on them if you put too much power into them. So I said, how many watts do you run in your truck then? This guy goes, oh, round about the 1200 watts in his truck. And that's what I bought. I bought a Wilson 1000 on his recommendation. And he also told me he had to upgrade his alternator in his truck. It's Colin. Steve, got a question for you. With the 6900, is there a way to dim the front light? It's blue and lights up the inside of your car. Not to my knowledge. And you are quite right. They are pretty bright. I used to mount my rig on my dashboard, my 6900. It's fine during the day, but overnight they're quite glaring. I had to move it because you get like that little bit of night blindness, you know, because like you say, everything's lit up blue, isn't it? And Dojo says linear amps are big in the US. FCC lost control. Likewise, same in the UK. It's funny, in the UK, if you take the first part of your amateur radio license, you're allowed to run 10 watts. But on CB, you can run 12 watts. It just don't make any sense at all. Over here, Dojo, 100 watts plus is pretty normal, really. Spinner, bubble. It looks like Charlie Tango 4543. Love my 6900. Instead of buying 6 UK FM rigs. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've now got all of the modes. We've got AM, we've got FM, we've got sideband to use. It's a no-brainer in my book. Going back 6 or 7 years, I did a video. It was on, I think it was a 360 FM. Went through all the UK FM channels, all of the mid-block FM. Nothing. Went on to sideband, rig come to life. There was Americans coming through, Italy, Germany, and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's a no-brainer to have a multi-mode in this day and age. Nick William, I don't want to alter the conversation. No, you go for it. That's what the chat section's for, Nick. Yeah, this is to Nick. Well, I've got a CB page of my own on Facebook, and it's CB Radio Europe. That's one for starters. George Donaldson. Welcome, George. Didn't see you sneak in there, mate. How are you? Hope you're well. Ex-Cobra 148 GTLDX user. Looking to get a 6900 soon. My biggest issue with a Cobra is that it went out of alignment over time. Is the 6900 any better in this respect? Thing is, your 148 can be nearly 40 years old. You won't find a 6900 as old as that. Dennis Watson, CB radio all the time. This is to analog, we'll call you, with the eye. The 6900's all right. I've got two here, and I've had hundreds of rigs, probably like people that have been on for a long time, like George Donaldson and a few of the others. They're all right, the 6900. They do about 40 watts on FM, about 30 watts on sideband, something like that. I ain't going to say don't get one, because if you get one, you'll get good use out of it. But out of all of them, I prefer the 9900 or the Anytone 6666, which I've got at the minute. It's my second one, but that's only my preference. I'm just reading all of this. Willy Nilly says, which one would you choose? 6900, 7900, or 9900? Me, myself, 9900 all day long. I've never had a 7900. I gather they're a good rig. Dojo says in the US, everyone piles up on about 4 channels. It's the same over here. If a little bit of long skip comes, you might have been on all week, morning, noon, and night. Put out calls. You don't hear many people. The minute a bit of decent skip comes, everyone's there, and they're all calling over the top of you. Radio manners just go straight out the window. Unfortunately, it's every man for himself. Gary says his 6900 scans on its own. That could be a microphone issue, Gary. What's prone to happening on the Anytone and the 9900, when the mic starts wearing, quite often when you key the mic, it will drop you down a channel or up a channel. In actual fact, my Anytone did it just the other day. Dennis Watson says, I started CB when I was 14 and I'm now 58. And I still got my Maxcon 4E. Blimey, you've been on a while, Dennis. I was around, I don't know, round about 20, 19, maybe 20. I'm 59 in January. So, Gary, you're saying about the rig scanning on its own. Is it continuous as soon as you plug the mic in, or does it do it without the mic plugged in as well? Because that might be a different issue altogether. Dennis Watson says you're a youngster. I don't know whether that's to me or not. I don't feel like a youngster, I can tell you. Now, Nick Williams, your 7900, has it got a clarifier and separate KC shift, or have you just got a clarifier on that, or can you dive into the menu and change the setting of your clarifier? And George, if you're still in here for the minute, the text seems to the chat section seems to have froze. Oh, you're replying to Dennis. Yeah, I've seen some of George Donaldson's work when he was putting a Cobra 148 back together. Yeah, the guy knows what he's doing. I'm clueless with that sort of thing, I'll be the first to say. Yeah, over here, Dojo, what tends to happen, people talk on the 1.9. Originally, the 1.9 was for mobiles, 1.4 was for home bases, but somewhere along the line, we all ended up on the 1.9. And yeah, people tend to just sit chatting on there now, and if anyone else appears, they bring them into the conversation. It can be annoying at times if you can hear someone in the background calling out that people can't, but it just, over here, we're just glad to hear a voice. Gary says only on key up. Yeah, I'd say it's a microphone issue, Gary. Is it the original mic you've got, or have you had one wired up to it? I've had similar things happen myself on a 6900. And this is to Gary, who's 6900. When he keys up, the rig starts going a bit nutty. It starts skipping frequencies. Hi, Chris, Mr. GM4. How you doing, mate? Oh, you're on the capo. Yeah, I would say get another mic or take the mic plug apart, have a little look, you know, because the screen quite often, one strand of wire can break off. It's only got to be touching something and the rig can skip about all over the bloody place. Yeah, George basically said exactly the same. Yeah, Chris, I'm fine, thanks, mate. I'm just doing my best to keep up with the chat section, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we've got 18 likes now. Thanks everyone that hit like. Appreciated. Grunter says he's considering the 7900, but I can't see it has enough display for the UK band. Are you referring to the 27781 and then the 2.5? To be honest, the 2.5 makes sod all difference, mate. Mr. Richard says, greetings from Holland. Welcome aboard, Holland. Hope all's well over there. Yeah, even this is to Grunter. On my 9900, there weren't room for the 2.5 on the digital display, but mate, it don't make any difference. It's more of a what's the word? If your rig can do it, people put the 2.5 in it. If it can't, it can only fit the 2. All well and good. Colin Guntrip said his Magnum S9 started to do it on Kia. I've got to be honest, I've had a Magnum S9, and when they're working, they're a cracking rig, but they can be a bit of a troublesome bit of kit. That's why not many people have got them anymore. Thousands of them flooded the market, but a hell of a lot of them just went wrong. Darren Barwick, Christmas 1981, he got a 2-channel Harvard handset. Channels for 14 and channel 30, no 19, 14 for a copy. Oh, we've all had some kit like that. Paul is asking, this is as in Charlie Tango 2198, what is the best antenna for mobile use? I can tell you my experience. I've been running mobile since, I don't know, mid-80s. I've had K40s, Wilson 1000s, Sirio Megawatt 3000, Sirio Megawatt 4000, Sirio Turbo 5000. They're the most recent ones, and obviously I've probably had at least 3 quarter waves, you know, the 9-foot whips. They're not practical for having on your motor for everyday use. They're all right for up a hill. If I was to go out and buy another aerial again, I would get another Sirio Megawatt 4000. I've still got mine, but one frosty morning, I was trying to do it up or undo it. The black plastic bit, if you like, turned slightly on the inside. It still works. And at the moment, I'm using a President Texas, but I don't think you can get them anymore. Steve Ellis in the house. Hi, Steve. I didn't see you sneak in there, mate. And he says that my Megawatt 4000 was the best antenna I used to talk to you on, Steve. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think if you can get them when there's when they're in stock, I've seen them for 34 quid, and that's just for the aerial on its own. And I have side by side tested that with a 9-foot tank whip, and to be honest, I couldn't tell any difference. And it's got less wind drag. The President Texas, the base, albeit it's fancy chrome, is about this high. It's quite a fat thing. And it's not one continuous whip. It's got a joiner in the middle, which is about as thick as that. That adds an extra little bit of drag on the mag mount. I've always been a bit apprehensive of going too fast with that on. Whereas the Megawatt, bung it on, off up the road. Jason, 2 Radio Tango 431 says, evening, Steve. What's your mate? How you doing? I'm doing fine. Johnny Mac, DV27 with a glowing tip. Anyone's had a DV27, especially on a biscuit tin. They were like your bread and butter rigs back in the 80s, even the 90s. Sean Farhay says, evening all. Evening, Sean. How you doing, mate? George Donaldson did mention the tank whip. I don't think you can beat one of them, but I will say some of the aerials I've had have been as good as, might be a fag paper in it, you know. Sean says he's got a new DV27 sat in his room. Dirty Katie says he has the idiot lights on the DV20. I never had them RF lights. I never did. Back in the day when there used to be a lot of people, you could go up Dunstable Downs in your car, and within a couple of minutes there might be 2 or 3 other cars, or there might have already been somewhere, you know, that already there. Quite often of a night, you'd look out your window and you'd see the tip of someone's aerial going. It was just, you know, it's a gadget, isn't it? And he's got a fire stick. I've had a couple of them in my day. Falls off above 20 mile an hour. They're quite a thick. They're not exactly low wind resistance, are they? Fizzy Fizz says that the lights are better on AM. They flashed as you spoke. Yeah, it's bringing back a lot of memories for me from back in the day. George, if you're still in here, I saw a video of yours regarding recapping old rigs. And basically, George was saying that everyone that you talk to now, if you've got a rig and you're trying to sell it, if it's an old one, they go, well, I want recapping, you know, blah, blah, blah. George did a video. I see your reply there, George. George did a video of an old, I think it was a Stalker 9 or something similar to that. And he changed all the capacitors in it to see if it'd make any difference. And basically it didn't, so you get these like buzzwords flying about. One person will say it needs recapping, someone else will latch onto that saying, and then they'll be repeating it like a parrot after. And that happens a lot in all hobbies. Radio Cruncher says, evening, Steve. Hi, mate. How you doing? And Radio Cruncher, is it OBS you use on your live stream? Because I watched one of your vids the other day, or your streams, and it was bloody good. Albert says he loved his Superstar 360, should never have sold it. Big mistake. Albert, we've all got them regrets, mate. All of us. My first ever rig, it was just a little AM set, and I got rid of it. No, you use vMix. Okay, yeah. Well, you've obviously mastered it because it's very good. I enjoyed that stream that I watched. Yeah, I got rid of that, and yeah, I could kick myself. But I used it as I got rid of that rig to upgrade to my next rig, which incidentally was a Formac 120. Because I'd be sat there on my little AM rig, someone would be chatting, and they'd have something real juicy to say to whoever they were talking to. Go, let's get rid of some of the earwig as we go low. At first, I didn't even know what going low meant, and I'd go all the way around the channels, but I've got to get them. And then, of course, some people had low lows or triple lows, so it was the crack back then. Johnny Mac had a Sharps small window AM, loved it. Colin Wiltshire will never sell my 360, and yes, it's been recapped. Yeah, fair play to you, Colin. I've actually got a 360 in my rig pile here. Richard, hello, Steve. Looks like November Bravo 288 popping in. Welcome aboard, Richard. I've not mentioned this in this stream, but I'm going to be chipping off just after 5 to, oh God, I've got about 5 to 8-ish, something like that. So you got me about an hour. Let's have just a little look. I've got the alarm set. If it goes on a little bit longer, then so be it. I know what it's like once we all get on here. George is saying that he did the video to bust the myth that recapping them makes them work better. Yeah, I gathered that, George. It's a point well proven, mate. I enjoyed it. Richard says, really enjoy your discos here in Ohio. I presume that's to someone else. Dipsy says 49 viewers, seemed a good number like last week's. Well, at one point it went up to 52, Dipsy. It goes up and down. It's 50 now, and Albert Footy says he's got a Grant 2 in the cupboard. Does anyone know if they're any good? Yes, they're all right. I'd run one for quite a long time. Right, I'm just going to stop reading that for a minute, but I will say thanks to everyone for turning up. Really appreciate it. Andrew Hodgkinson's got an old AM rig made by Realistic. Now I only use my 6900, he says. Paul loves his Grant too. Do you know what? Something that I did like the sound of, and I tried to get it off of my friend, and that was the President Jackson 2. Now, Del Boy, if you ask him about them, he says they're rubbish. They wander on frequency, sound horrible. But I will say the two that I've heard locally sounded superb. I don't know if anyone else had the Jackson 2, but I can tell you that my friend's one weren't the one with the orange lights. This was a silver fronted one. It was called the President Jackson 2. I think it was a limited edition. Sounded great. Anyways, Mr. Steve Ellis, how you doing over there in sunny Spain? How's things, mate? One day I'd like to do a list of all the rigs I've had. I couldn't tell you how many. It's like the Cobra 148 GTL DX. I really couldn't tell you how many of them I've had. And the Superstar 360 FM, the same. Steve's been building walls and harvesting olives. Yeah, fair play. Sounds idyllic, mate. Sounds like you've done the right thing. Let me see if I can just fish out my 360 FM. So hard to... I think this is it. That's my 360 FM. Don't know if the camera will focus well enough to read what it says underneath the channel knob. It's got a weird little mod on the back of it. That switch, high and low power. But that's got a 10 kc jump on it, switchable Roger Bleep, the high-low power. I've got to be honest, there is a little fault on that one that manifests itself on channel 30. Yeah, it's a nice rig. I've only really got it for nostalgia reasons. I love the sound of it on receive. There's just something a bit different about it. Radio Cruncher says, same as the 148 GTL DX Mark II, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's a Mark II board in that as well. Channel 30, at least on the mid-block. All the rest are in perfect alignment. Now, George Donaldson might have a bit of a clue here. When you go to channel 30, it's way off. You can just about KC shift yourself close to channel 30, but it's still 2 or 3 kcs high or low. I can't remember which way it goes. 30k, you said you're selling it, Steve. I'll collect them. I think you might have asked about it last week. If someone offered me the right money for it, I would let it go. You know, I'll have to do more testing on it. I think it's got the Muppet board as well. Like I say, it does want looking at. I wouldn't. I'll see if I can check it out a little bit more, Jason. I can tell you what it does and what it don't do, and then if you make me an offer that I like the sound of, you know, you can have it, mate. I very rarely use it, in actual fact. Steve says it could be the phase lock loop out of spec. I've got no idea. Stud says, hi, boss. Hiya, mate. How you doing? Willie nearly says, is that like a 3600? I presume you mean 3900. Yeah, they're very similar. But the 360 was very early. basically you had the Cobra 148 GTL-DX, and then you had the 360 FM, which I think was the same rig, just a different name on it. Radio Cruncher said it'd be interesting to find out what the issue is. Sounds like out of alignment. Yeah, cheers for that, George. I appreciate that, because I'm not techie like that at all. So yeah, George has just basically put the rubber stamp on it. I've seen George working on rigs. It's like, yeah, don't need that, rips them all apart. Bosh, the next bit of the video, the rig's working as it should. So yeah, fair play to George for bringing these rigs back to life. Timothy Brown says the 3900 is the modern version. And Study's asking, do I remember the Maxcom 4E? There was a few Maxcoms. I can't, if you said, if there was a pile of rigs without names on and you said, do you remember the 4E? What one is it? I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I remember one of them had like a flat mic. Quite a weird mic. So yeah, I've had a couple of Maxcom. Right, Nick Williams says he's interested in George's channel. Yeah, if you look him up, Nick, if you type in the call sign just after his name, you'll see his name here. That will take you to his channel. And I see the numbers have gone back up. We're back up to 51. Thanks for everyone that's joined. If you've only just joined and you've got a question, fire away in the chat section. I'm sure as a collective, we should be able to help you out. Timothy Brown says, generally speaking, the newer the 3900, the worse it is. I've got to be honest, Timothy. In the last 4 or 5 years, I think I've had at least 2 3900s. They are the modern ones with the, instead of low, mid, high, it goes A, B, D, B, you know. They've all seemed all right on sideband, but not, they're sort of a bit mediocre, aren't they, to be honest. Steve says the Ranger 2950 over the 3900 any day. Yeah, I'm a 2950 fan. I think they're a cracking rig. Alan Tovey's got a Wagner 506 and a Mint High Gain 5. I'm not familiar with the Wagner, but yeah, I'm quite envious of the Mint High Gain 5. Now, some of you might know the answer to this. I've seen high gain 5s with just a clarifier, and I've also seen high gain 5s with a clarifier and KC shift. What's that about? Is one of them the early model or something? Radio Cruncher says about removing the front on the 360, and it had the. I'm not sure on that, mate. I'll tell you what I've got, and I've spoken to you guys about it before, maybe in like a box standard video. I've got a blue display 3900 that's got higher output. It's 25 watts on sideband. Can't remember on AM FM, and the SWR calibrate pulls out. Now I thought that took me to other channels, but last time I pulled it out, just dropped the power down. So I'm not sure what that's about. But that's a nice rig. Steve Ellis says it's got no FM. Is rig. Was that Stalker 9 you was talking about, Steve? I think the Stalker 9 didn't have FM on it. It was a 9FDX, wasn't it? You've got the home base. Andy Spencer, welcome aboard, mate. We're all just chatting about various rigs and the normal. Do you recap an old rig or not? And mobile aerials and everything. It's pretty good here tonight. Darren Howell said it should take you to the zeros when you pull it out. Well, it's got a 5kc shift on it anyway, Darren, to take you to the zeros. It's also got a factory fitted 10kc jump for your alpha channels. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, plus 10kc jump where the channel 9 switch would normally be. Al Bast, where you been, mate? Welcome aboard. I think most of these are all just sort of chatting. Al Bast is saying that some people got sent home from the hills again last night because of lockdown. Yeah, I heard last week someone me and Deb sort of know. I think they actually, I'm not sure if they got arrested or whatnot through breaking COVID rules. Andy Spencer says, what do you think, Steve, to them? I think they're Midland. I must have missed something here. Yeah, Andy Spencer, sorry, mate, rather than me going right the way up, I must have missed your original question there. We might be starting a do you cap, recap, or do you leave the old caps in here? Someone mentioned the audio line 341. I think that's it. Actually got two of them. One's missing the top case. Don't even ask why. It was on them. Oh, that's a 340. Okay, Radio Crunch. I never remember. There's also the Uni-Ace, wasn't there, which I believe were the same rig, the Uni-Ace 100, I think it was, and then the Uni-Ace 200. Albert Footy said, what was the old 80s Muppet rig that was black? And a Roger Bleak. You're probably talking about the Amstrad 901, are you? They are very popular. Well, numbers are now hovering 45, 46. It keeps going up to 50 and then back down again. But yeah, thanks everyone that's currently watching this. Appreciate it. Coyote1 UK said, I've just stumbled on your channel and I've now subscribed. I'm not sure who that was to. If it was to me, thank you very much. Have a look through the videos. If it was someone else, then obviously they'll... Yeah, the 901 are on sale for silly money. Coyote, yeah, welcome aboard, mate. I do a live stream every Wednesday from 7 p.m. UK time. And I also do one on a Sunday, 7 p.m. onwards, normally for about an hour. Chris Gress says the 901s are dog's poo. Andy Spencer says, what about that, Steve? What do you think of Midland CBs? I think they're all right. I've not got one at the minute. The last one I had, I let go about 3-4 months ago. They're a good bread and butter rig, you know. I think they do a 2001, 3001, 4001. Then they've brought out these new ones. Darren says he's had a couple of 4001s. I don't think you can go wrong with a Midland, to be honest. Timothy Brown says that name Amstrad brings back nightmares of Amstrad video players. I think with the Amstrad 901, it was either a love it or hate it. A bit like a Marmite, wasn't it? And just to comment on something that someone said just a minute ago about Amstrad 901s going for silly money. All of the old rigs are now going for silly money. What you've got to remember, some of these rigs now are like 39 years old. They're becoming antique. If you've got one in a box, particularly if it's a good one, like that guy in here said he's got a brand new high gain 5, you know, the value of that rig is only ever going to go up. Radio Cruncher says he's got plenty of rigs here. And I get around to selling them. Yeah, tell me about it. Bill says the police have all of his old rigs. Oh dear. I've been very fortunate. When I started, a lot of you guys that have been on a long while, I used to call them the Busbies. I think it was the British Telecom. I don't know how they ever used to DF people. And now, of course, it's Ofcom. Chris says he saw a Portapack go for 175. Yeah, that's the alarm. Yeah, we'll forget about that, shall we? Because we're still... Yeah, it was BT. Yeah, what you've got to remember, guys, some of these old rigs are getting very old, and they're collector's items. And people, if someone's got one in the box, the price of them's only ever going to go up. I mean, we might know that that particular rig, even when they were new, were rubbish, but it don't matter. Just imagine an HF Amstrad. Yeah. Anyway, some of you guys out there are pretty clever, aren't you? You know how to contact people and who manufactures this in what country. Why don't someone get hold of these people making the capo mic and ask them to make one with a tone control on the side of it, you know, like the old teardrop with static. Radio Crunch has got a Uniden 200 and an audio line 341 boxed. I don't know if any of you guys can remember. I think it was last year, it might have been the year before. Someone found a whole pallet of the smaller audio line, a whole pallet, brand spanking new, boxed, and they were selling them on Facebook. I don't know if anyone ever bought one. If I'd have had the dough, I would have bought a couple myself. A whole pallet of them. I couldn't believe it. I mean, what a find. Can you imagine that? Gold's Cross says, evening, Steve. What's your mate? Thanks for dropping by. Colin Guntrip says there's a 2,000 watt burner on eBay, 900 quid so far. Who's bidding? Coyote asking, what's your handle on CB? Well, I normally go by my call sign, which is Charlie Tango 318, and I quite often just say anyone out there for 318. People know who I am, but I have got a handle, and it's Fat Man, as in overweight. Stefan says he had a Radiomobile 202 given to you. There were so many rigs back in the day, weren't there? Bill 53 UK says one of his old rigs came from a truck stop at Toddington Services. Sean says he's looking at a Cobra 148 GTL DX Mark II on eBay. It's 270 quid. I had so much use out of my 148. I've told you all before, but not everyone that I told was in would have heard it. I bought a brand spanking new Cobra 148 GTL DX in a shop called Breakers Paradise, and that was my local CB shop. I paid 185 quid for it, and I protected that with my life on the way home. That was the most expensive thing I'd ever bought, apart from my car. Now, Albast saying he's just got himself a Uniden 200 just for the nostalgia reasons, really. Yeah, fair play to you. I've sort of been looking on eBay now and again for an old straight 40 Bristol like I had, my first rig, but I've seen a couple on there, but they've just been. I found this in a barn find, you know, things all rusty and covered in dust. People flogging them, can't even wipe the rag over them. They say, well, it should work. Yeah. Should and could, you know. AMC Doogie says about the Vice President Roy. I can't remember that rig. I remember the name. Sean's just said there was a Harrier CBX on eBay that went for 175, and he says he wanted it but just didn't have the cash. If I was pretty wedged up, right, and I saw a boxed straight 40 Bristol rig like I first had, I would pay stupid money for it just for the nostalgia. I know technically it wouldn't be worth it, but I'd still have it. $53 in the stream at the minute. Thanks to everyone if you've just joined in. If you've got a question, hit the chat section. Between all there's 50 odd people in there. If you need some help between us, I'm sure we'll be able to sort you out. You can get like a live answer to your problem if you like, or just join in, tell us what rig you've got, whatever. Radio Cruncher, if you're referring to the CBX, what is it with them? How do people manage to damage the front panel? Must have a screwdriver or a chisel and just... There's some butchers around it. I've seen some butchered rigs, people drilling holes through them. And Chris says the Bristol was his first rig on AM in the UK. Yeah, I had so much fun on mine, Chris. But, there was a lot more people. There was 4 people on it just in my road alone. And I only had like a 5-foot fire stick, but it didn't matter. You could turn the rig on, bosh, straight in there. Steve G says, what about a power supply for a base station? Steve, it depends what you're going to be running off it. What seems to be the standard nowadays is a 30 amp. It's way more than what you need if you've only got a little AM FM rig. But if at a later date you get an amplifier, it don't mean then you haven't got to go out and buy twice to buy another power supply. Pardon me. I think it was Bill that said he bought a rig from Toddington Services. There was also another CB. It wasn't a shop. The guy had a 40-foot trailer that was turned into like a shop. You could go in there and buy rigs. That was at Junction 9. Mr. Cross still waiting for his President Adams to have its Gerhardt conversion. I like the Adams. I've had a couple of them. I think one had been expanded, had the highs on it, and the other one was just a straight AM sidebander. I loved them because they're big, weren't they? Dipsy says it's a Watling Street truck stop. That's it, mate. Sean says there's a Ham International on eBay. What is it, Sean? Because Ham Internationals, blimey, there's loads of them. You've got the Ham International Jumbo, Ham International Concorde 2, Ham International Multimode 2. That's just the name, but a few. There was a very good CB shop in Watford, Bill. It was called Truck King. I bought quite a lot of gear out of there. Paul Edwards got a Mark 1 Lincoln boxed and unmodded. Thinking of getting it wide banded or leave it on 10 metres. The choice is yours, Paul. But they're a cracking rig, them. I did have one. that was modded for 11 meters, but I used it mobile, and the digital display was just that bit small for my eyes, and I had to get rid of it. Chris says it's been a lot of years since he was at the Junction 9. Bill's message has been deleted by the Google moderator team. That's out of my hands. I don't know what that's about. It's with a 30 amp power supply, run a 500 watt burner. If you're going to run 500 watts, you might as well get a 40 amp supply, mate. AMC Doogie says he got a few rigs, including the President JFK. Yeah, I've had one of them, variable power on the front, if I remember, just AM, FM. Timothy is asking if I've ever tried a 7900 because it got a very large frequency display. No, I've never had the option to get one. To be honest, I've had the CRE 8900, probably 5 6900s, including the very early one without the N in the front, 3900s. What else have I had? 2 9900s and 2 Anytones, and I've got an Anytone here now, the 6666. Truck King's now a burger shop. Anyone else ever shopped in Truck King? Whether we're talking about in Watford or in Letchworth, I bought a lot of kit. The prices were very good, I found. Yeah, Timothy, I may well like the 7900. I do like my everything's going a bit nutty here at the minute. Jake says, I just wish phones would go away. Gould's Cross rode his bike. Must have been miles to go to Truck King. When he got there, they were shut. Gutted. Now, I'm just going to share this little story with you, right? I went to Truck King one day. They was open. I bought a 30 amp diamond power supply, and I believe I bought the Sirio 2012 on the same day. All right. I had a little mini 1000. When you put your foot on the clutch, it'd been making a funny noise, but you know, it was my car. I got in the car, right? I got my gear, stuck it in the car, started the engine up, put my foot on the clutch. It just went bang. Pedal went all weird, hydraulic clutch. What the hell's happened here? Went to put it in gear, it was just grating. Oh no, clutches. I think the thrust bearing had shattered or something. So what I had to do was push the car back from the car in front. Luckily, there was a few spaces behind. Turn the engine off, put the car in first gear, wind it over so it started and drove off. think I did an about turn in the road, and I came all the way from Watford back to Luton with no clutch. I had to get the revs right to change gear. But I did manage to get the car home. I had no AA, no RAC, nothing like that. But that was a bit of a trip. Timothy Brown says, Truck King moved from Watford to somewhere else, then closed. Well, Tim, they moved to Letchworth. And I actually visited them in their Letchworth shop. It's like a little industrial unit, which was handy for me because it was less of a hassle to get there. But then they moved out. Rocket Radio moved in. And I'm not really sure. I don't think Truck King are trading anymore, unless someone else can tell me otherwise. Jake773's got to go. Take care, Jake. Maybe we'll see you in the next stream on Wednesday, or if not, maybe next Sunday. Radio Cruncher says Truck King's gone. Craig Gray says, good evening, Steve. Sorry I'm late. Here we go. It's all starting to kick off here, isn't it? Don't worry, Craig. Better late than never. We've been talking about mobile aerials, rigs, just a little bit of nostalgia, stuff that's for sale on eBay for silly prices. Take care, George. Thanks for dropping by. George has been on the stream for probably an hour or more, so fair play to you, George. See you next time. All going well, mate. Dipsy says, if it wasn't of him, I'd become nuts in my truck. Let me just check out the time here. Oh, it's just someone commenting on I sent out like a little video clip on a Messenger earlier. Craig Gray says a Serio Fighter 4000 for me. Mobile works a treat. I've never had that one, Craig. AMC Doogie. I don't know whether you're selling that, are you? Or there's one on eBay. It's got a President JFK. Spares or repairs 350. What a bargain. Someone's going to snap that up, isn't they? Darren's got to go. Take care, Darren. Maybe catch you next time. Yeah, just messing. It's the thing now, isn't it, with eBay? People are putting rigs on there and they'll say spares or repairs only. Now, that really opens up like a big multitude of options there, doesn't it? They could be selling a dodgy rig, in which case the buyer knows they're buying a dodgy rig. But they might also say the rig actually works fine. Radio Cruncher, you know what's up with that, mate? Wants recapping. I really don't know. People do pay the money, you're right there. Colin Wilshire said about the 7900 and someone changed the orange to green. I've never had that. I presume that is an aftermarket. Don't sell radios, by the way. There, that's fine, mate. No worries. Yeah, Bill says about the state of some of the rigs on eBay. Yeah, some of them look like they've been in. I really don't know. covered in dirt and rubbish and rusty and whatnot. You know, barn finds, people finding stuff in loft, and then they describe it as pretty good nick. Dipsy's just a boring electrician now. I'm sure that ain't the case, Dipsy. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this up now. This has gone over an hour and 15 minutes according to this. I need a toilet break and all the rest of it. But I will say thanks everyone for turning up, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it again. Andy Spencer's got a Wilson 1000. Yes, Chris. Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Steve. Do you know when Knights are going to get any of those capo mics back in?
I didn't even know I had Zello on. If I can get to where I've got to go. Well, I'll answer you over here. The answer to that is no. I ain't got a clue. I've never bought anything from Knights, to be honest. Now I have got a rig here that I got off my mate that he bought from Knights. Timothy, yeah, you take it easy yourself, mate. Bill, stay lucky, stay safe. Sean says he'll catch me on Zello during the week. Yeah, all going well, mate. I'm more often than not there, but I haven't always got my volume turned up. So Radio Cruncher says he's bought loads from Knights and always found them good. I've never heard a bad word said. Catch you later, Steve Ellis. Take care, mate. Right, I think everyone's sort of got the message now that I'm going. And I will say thanks everyone for turning up. It's made it a lot of fun. Not just for me, but, you know, I think we all need a little bit of fun. Craig Gray says 73s. Craig. Radio Cruncher. Yeah, take care. Right, that's it. I'm going now. This is Charlie Tango 318 signing out.